the Orange Bowl with Notre Dame facing off against Penn State. Notre Dame is favored by 1.5 points in this game. And I think, honestly, rightfully so. When you have a big win like Marcus Freeman against Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, the biggest win of his career, the number 2 ranked team in the nation, and honestly, just seeing how it's been a playoff game for Notre Dame ever since they lost to Northern Illinois, it is kind of fair to feel that they are favored in this game, and even before I really dug into it on this one, my emotional Bulldog self was saying, I think Penn State's, going to really outmatch them. I argue that Notre Dame might have been the weakest team left in the CFP semifinal next to Texas, but it kind of seems like all 4 of these teams are pretty evenly matched. And I will still give Penn State some credit with the way that they played SMU, with the way that they played Boise State. But we really have a battle of 2 coaches who previously have not won a big game up until this point. Of course, we know Penn State with 2 playoff wins getting into the bracket, and obviously James Franklin able to, nail down some of those wins. Yes, he does get a win over SMU. Yes, over a Boise State, but it doesn't necessarily feel as, big or impressive as Marcus Freeman's win over the number 2, first round bye seeded Georgia Bulldogs, which is a really tough watch. You guys heard me get on the show and talk about it, but shout out to Marcus Freeman. I feel like he is the better coach in this matchup. Now, that's not to say that James Franklin won't come forward and, with the roster of Penn State between Katron Allen, Nick Singleton, obviously Tyler Warren at the tight end position. Drew Aller has been improving week by week, as you guys have heard Allen say on the show. And I think it's going to be a pretty solid matchup. I think we have a big-time defensive battle in this game. Now, it is unfortunate that there is still no Riley Mills for Notre Dame, but if you watch the way that Notre Dame was exploiting the left side of that Georgia offensive line, and it might not be the exact same thing here with Penn State, but Notre Dame took notes. Notre Dame's going to be coming to play the same way that they did against the Bulldogs, and this is the best defense probably left in college football next to the Ohio State Buckeyes. Really, all 4 teams that are left have great defenses, but when you're able to lead the nation in turnovers, you lead the nation far and away by points off turnovers, it's really hard not to give that nod to this Notre Dame defense. And if Riley Mills was playing in this one, I would feel even more solid quarterback battle on our hands as well. It's not like Riley Leonard or Drew Aller are absolutely frightening jumping off paper. And, I would like Drew Aller's passing game and arm overall over Riley Leonard, but the way that Marcus Freeman is able to have those creative runs, able to throw in those decoys, those QB draws, those QB sweeps, powers for Riley Leonard, we saw it against Georgia. Riley Leonard only had to throw for 90 yards, but he ran for 80, and Notre Dame won comfortably by 13. Now, yes, we know they had that magical 17-point barrage in about 60 seconds of the game, and the offense was non-existent in other parts, which again was kind of making me have my reservations about this Notre Dame team. But when you pull the emotion out of it, apply the logic, and really research the 2 teams that are in this matchup in the CFP, you got to give hats off to both quarterbacks that are in it. Can Notre Dame's special teams prevail again? I feel like that is the really big question, because we see their special teams. They're able to, trick Georgia on the 11 all sub. They sub the 11 in after pulling the punt team off. Georgia gets their sub in, then they get them on the fake snap. We see the kickoff run back. We see the couple of special teams advantages that Notre Dame had against the Georgia Bulldogs. And it just makes me wonder what's up their sleeve for this one. Are they going to be able to come out and prevail against Penn State in this football game the way that they did against Georgia? I don't know if Notre Dame can necessarily look to have those same types of breaks against Penn State like they did against Georgia, which, echoing the same sentiment again, made me have my reservations about this Notre Dame team. Well, they're not going to get a Gunnar Stockton, who's essentially a rookie quarterback in, college football, his first start, his first snaps being, meaningful snaps being in the second half of an SEC championship, first start in a college football playoff game. Are they going to be able to take advantage of a coach in Kirby Smart who had a lot of personal issues going on? And I'm not making any excuses, but that's going to take up your mind share. I don't know if Notre Dame can specifically bank on those in this game. I don't know if they can bank on a weak offensive line in this game. A teams whose, defense and offense had been sputtering up until that point in the Georgia Bulldogs. So it will be a good question to see if Notre Dame can have those same advantages, and really if the special teams can prevail again. Overall, I like Penn State's dominance and really resume compared to Notre Dame's, because when you have the way that they beat SMU despite who they are, when you have the way that they beat Boise State despite who they are, but knowing that you hold Ashton Jeanty to under 140 for the first time all year, you take out his long run, I think it was on 3rd and 21. And he's got, 29 carries for 78 yards, 26 carries for 78 yards. Nonetheless, we know that Ashton Jeanty was shut down. So that Penn State defense really did come to play. And just the way that they've been dominating, I feel like overall throughout the season. And again, especially their resume throughout the regular season stacked up to this point in the playoffs, it is favorable. But you take a look at that Notre Dame defense, who, has an argument to be the best defense left in college football after what they did to the Georgia Bulldogs in the Sugar Bowl. And just the defeat of Georgia speaks absolute volumes. The rosters are very comparable on both sides of the ball as well, whether you're talking about the quarterbacks, you're talking about, the running backs. You got Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price. You're talking about Nick Singleton, Katron Allen. Obviously, you got Bo Collins for Notre Dame. Obviously, Tyler Warren, for Penn State as well. I will, ironically, after all that being said, Ryan Allen, everyone that's been listening into the show that's been talking to me ever since the Dogs lost, that I wanted Penn State to win. Sanjay, if you're listening to this, I'm going against the Nittany Lions. Give me Notre Dame to win this game outright as the favorites. They're, again, favored by 1.5. Give me Notre Dame beating Penn State 21-7. Penn State, what's up, man? Or not Penn State. I guess I could call you Penn State, right? What's up, Logan? Hope to see you at the next meetup, brother. Penn State is my squad. I'm so nervous. I totally understand that, man. Y'all are playing a hell of a team in Notre Dame coming in, and they're riding the high off of the win against Georgia. So Penn State's going to have to bring their best game. You're going to have to get Singleton. You're going to have to get Allen in space. You're going to have to continue to have Drew Aller really improve week over week like he has. And James Franklin's got to step up to the table because he could possibly get out coached in this game, just like Kirby Smart got out coached by Marcus Freeman.